So once the final selection of the berries has happened outside, we will now start conveying the grapes inside to the cellar. So behind me you see one of our small little fermentation tanks. We've got 14 of these, varying in sizes, all the way from sizes that can accommodate 6 tons of grapes down to as little as 2 tons of grapes, which is great because it means that essentially every little area in the vineyard that we see is different and that we historically think would be unique, we can ferment as a separate wine. So the grapes will fall outside in a stainless steel bin, as I previously explained, and then with gravity, it will be decanted into one of these tanks that you see behind me. Now, with the Bordeaux concept, in our whole philosophy of making wine with the tower, with gravity, everything and all the focus is on actually growing the perfect berry. And in here, we always see it as not being a science experiment. It's not a lab. We just want to take these beautiful berries and help it to turn into this beautiful wine. So it's essentially just making sure that nothing goes wrong, let nature do its own thing. And to almost delve into that philosophy, we had these tanks designed specifically for us. So they are just as high as they are wide, which means that we can work a lot less because the grape to skin contact ratio is actually very big. I'm standing on top of one of my favorite tanks of wine in the cellar and one of the most famous vineyards at the Toren. It's a block of Cabernet. It's called A3 and A4, which is absolutely perfect. So what I've got here in my hands is some of the skins that will go into this fermentation. So the tank is almost done with fermentation. And what I want to highlight is that when you go through the skins, you still find a lot of this whole berries. And that's a testament to how soft we work. And it comes back to, again, the design of the tanks and the method of extraction that we use, which I will show you in a moment. What is special about this whole berries is that the wine will actually ferment inside the berry. It's a process called fermentation integral. So when you pop them over during the pressing process, they actually just release a little bit of sugar again, a little bit of fruit, and it will give this nice, almost sensorically, a little bit of fruit sweetness to the wine, something that just makes the wine a little bit more enhanced in a lot of senses. So each fermentation at the Toren is unique, and we will most of the time be led by what the grapes want us to do with it. So we will use different yeast. We will use cold soaking on some of the tanks, which is just a technique where you cool the whole tank down to actually release a little bit of tannins, a little bit of precursors of aroma. Working with gravity, we use 2 main techniques for extracting the color out of the skins. So what's very important to understand is if you've got a black skin berry in front of you, just picked from the vine, the outside skin is completely black, full of tannins, full of anthocyanins, which is the color that you will eventually see. If you squeeze that berry open, the juice inside is still green, or let's call it white, so it's not colored. So all the goodness of a red wine actually comes out of the skin. So what's going to happen during this fermentation process is that the yeast will start converting the sugary juice to an alcoholic medium. During that process, you get carbon dioxide as a byproduct, which will catch onto the skins and will basically let all the skins rise to the top. So if this were to be a glass tank, you would actually see a whole bunch of skins and then some wine. So the problem for us, or the challenge, is how do you get the skins to release all that goodness into the wine? So one of the techniques that we will use is called manual punch downs, which is great exercise. And what we do is very simply just pushing the skins back into the wine. So once you've completely immersed all the skins back into the wine, it normally takes about 3 to 4 hours for everything to rise to the top. And then we'll just do it again. So depending on the block of wine, this is Cabernet. It's quite a big, structured, expressive wine. So we want a lot of that greatness that is locked up in the skins in the wine. We'll do a little bit more punch downs. If you get, for instance, a very delicate Merlot, you'll do it a little bit less. If you get a very specific block that needs to be treated in a little colder manner, so the fermentation a little bit colder, we'll do that. again, here you have to really sense what the grapes wants you to do with them to make them great and unlock that greatness.